We're at a time in our country where people are starting to realize the impact of these anti-abortion laws. And now when it's finally become impossible for some people, I think people realize that that is actually not what they intended. That is not what they want for children, for women, to be put in these situations of life-threatening conditions, of traumatic pregnancies.
That was Indiana OBGYN Dr. Caitlin Bernard on Tuesday on CBS Evening News. And Dr. Bernard has been at the very center of the abortion rights debate after performing the procedure on a 10-year-old rape survivor. The young girl was an Ohio resident, but traveled across state lines over to Indiana to get the procedure because Ohio's trigger law had gone into effect before she realized that she was pregnant. Ohio now bans all abortions after 6 weeks, even in the cases of rape or incest. We should mention we're talking about a 10-year-old, so no matter what the context of the situation is, this is a rape situation. Dr. Bernard says she and her family have been threatened and that she is currently under investigation by Indiana's Attorney General. Joining me now, Republican strategist and MSNBC political analyst Susan Del Percio. Also, Lindy Lee, the co-chair of Justice Unites Us. I thought that was a really important point to make there because, you know, like, there's no sugarcoating this. You don't need exceptions for rape or incest when we're talking about a 10-year-old child. And Lindy, I just want to get your visceral response to what you heard and saw there from the doctor in Indiana, who's become really, I guess, the focus, but she's just representative of the reality that's going on right now.
Absolutely. I think it's totally unconscionable that the Attorney General is going after a doctor who arguably saved this girl's life. And let's bear in mind that she was 6 weeks and 3 days pregnant, so she just barely missed the threshold in Ohio, and there was no mercy or compassion shown towards this girl. Not only was she raped twice by her assaulter, but she was assaulted again by her own home state because they denied her care. And I just want to point out that we just learned yesterday that in a jail, many women were raped and assaulted because a guard took a bribe of $1,000. But guess what? The Indiana Attorney General went after this doctor who saved a girl's life rather than going after the real culprits in the jail. So his priorities are way out of whack.
It feels so hard to talk about this and think about the fact that the people that are on the anti-abortion side of this debate, they push for these policies without maybe, Susan, thinking about the real impact. And that is something that, pro-choice folks have been pointing out for 50 years, right? Abortion is healthcare. That's not just a talking point. It's healthcare. These are the real consequences when you deny people health care. I want to play another clip for you, Susan, of Dr. Bernard. She spoke about these real world consequences. Take a look.
How would you describe how things have changed since the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade?
We're hearing stories all across the country of people who are in dire circumstances, complications of their pregnancies, or traumatic situations, and are needing abortion care and not able to get it.
Susan, do you think the anti-choice movement, perhaps, maybe they were naive, maybe they don't care, but they did not necessarily consider all of these real world implications of the Supreme Court decision, and now it's coming home to roost? I mean, what's your reaction to that clip there of Dr. Bernard talking about the real consequences?
Well, the real consequences are women and girls are going to die. Unfortunately, the 10-year-old girl that you mentioned, she's not the only one out there. There's an 11-year-old girl going through something similar right now. I mean, I can't tell you where, and I'm speaking a little bit figuratively here, but women, we know of some cases that women have not been able to get abortions to save their life, and they have died. We're going to see this over and over again. And what I think is important politically, just switching to a political lens, is that there were those on the pro-life movement that truly believed that, you know, that the Roe v. Wade's, that believed that the Supreme Court even went too far on overturning Roe v. Wade completely. It always seemed that rape, life, health of the fetus, and maybe even a 15-week cap on time was a reasonable to them. I'm not saying it's reasonable to me or to other folks, but that's where it seemed that you weren't being radical. Now, the pro-life movement is deemed completely radical, and runaway state legislatures are taking it to a whole new height because they want to get reelected and win their primaries. This is a really bad political decision for Republicans to be this extreme, and we're going to see the consequences. I can't believe that we're going to see someone in Pennsylvania or in Ohio win who is completely against abortion, even in the case of rape, incest, life, and murder.
I mean, but it's such a good point Susan makes, Lindy, because, you know, these Republicans that are running in this election cycle, do they not have to answer for this? Don't they have to come up with some defense as to why they are okay with women almost bleeding to death, women bleeding until they're in need of a ventilator, because doctors are on the phone with lawyers trying to figure out if it's okay to give women health care and treat them as if they're humans? I mean, do you think that eventually it's going to come around, it's going to impact Republican women? It's not just Democratic women having these situations. Do you think Susan's point is right, that it is going to come around and they're going to, I don't know, they're going to have a come to Jesus moment, for lack of a better term?
Unfortunately, I think they're doubling down. Let's be very clear. The Mississippi House Speaker said, yes, if a girl is impregnated by her father or uncle, she is obligated to carry the child to term. He said that. And then we had a Republican Senator, Blankford, who said under oath that, yes, he believes that a 13-year-old can consent to sex. And then we have a Republican Ohio legislator, a woman, mind you, who said that the rape of the 10-year-old is an opportunity. So they are not feeling contrite at all. They're doubling down and moving the goalposts. They're starting to redefine what constitutes an abortion. They're starting to say that a miscarriage, if you have a miscarriage, getting an abortion isn't an abortion, even though it is. They're saying that if you have an ectopic pregnancy, if you get an abortion, it's not an abortion, even though it is. So they're moving the goalposts and completely upending scientific fact in order to bolster a completely fundamentally wrong policy. And I know that religious faith is something that's very intimate to these people, but this is our country. This is not your church. Your religion shouldn't be imposed on everybody else in the country. So, Susan, what do we do in this moment where it's not really about public opinion anymore? Public opinion is confirmed. The vast majority of Americans support contraception. They support abortion access and choice. But the Supreme Court is so extremist, and you have the extremists, as Lindy was talking about, that are taking up all the space in this conversation. So what do the rest of us do? What do the people at home who want to see women and people who can get pregnant have the full slate of healthcare options available to them? What do they do in this moment where the whole room is being filled up by the voices of the extremists, as Lindy said?
I know this isn't an ideal answer, but it does come down to voting. You need to have federal legislation that will protect a woman's right to choose. You know, the federal legislature, our Senate and House have really, on both sides, over time on different issues, have fell down and not completed their mission of governance. We keep leaving it to the Supreme Court. We know what's going to happen. So I hope that is enough to rally around getting out the vote to support people. And again, I understand it's a personal choice, but at the very least, rape, incest, life of the mother, 16 weeks, this is just in the realm of being medically responsible. And there could be other conversations for sure, but it also comes down to, Zerlina, people like you, people who keep the focus on the stories of how this is affecting women, because it will start affecting more and more women, and it's going to start touching closer to home for many, many people. And these stories must be told because they are horrific, and there's no way we could be made to feel numb to them.
I always prefer to focus on the impact of policies rather than just the political debate over them. That is my jam. Susan Del Percio and Lindy Lee, thank you so much for being here today. It's always great to have you. Unfortunately, I wish we could talk about something happier, but we'll do that next time. Thank you again. Hi, I'm Zerlina Maxwell. Thanks for checking out our channel on YouTube. You can see more from Zerlina by clicking any of the videos on this screen, and make sure you subscribe below to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. Thanks for watching.